what if time ran backward? I mean, really think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Not just, hitting rewind on a video, but fundamentally, intrinsically. Events unfolding in reverse. How would that change everything? Our whole understanding of reality, cause and effect? Even ourselves.
It's a massive question.
Yeah. So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. This mind-bending concept, an inverted universe. It's a pretty wild thought experiment from physics, right?
Infinitely.
But we're going to connect it to something, well, deeply personal. One individual's really profound reflection on life, trauma, and the nature of reality itself.
It's quite a juxtaposition.
It really is. We're
Yeah.
stretching from the cosmic all the way to the intensely human.
Okay, so our journey today, it's guided by two pretty unique sources. First, we'll dig into key points from William James Sidis' work, The Animate and the Inanimate. It's an extraordinary piece that lays out the theoretical groundwork for this inverted universe idea.
Cities, yeah. Quite a figure.
Indeed. And then second, we'll look at some powerful excerpts from a book called The Upside-Down Universe, A Life's Reflection. And here, the author tries to find meaning, maybe an explanation, for their own profound personal experiences by drawing these really striking parallels to Sidis's scientific ideas.
Right. So our mission today is kind of twofold. First, let's try and really grasp the scientific ideas here, what Sidis was actually proposing with this inverted universe.
Get the foundations down.
Exactly. Then we explore how one person has used this really radical concept to process their own, frankly, incredibly difficult life experiences, and ultimately maybe consider what this tells us about how we understand reality, resilience, and, the powerful stories we build to make sense of things.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's unpack this. So starting with William James Sidis and his work, The Animate and the Inanimate. The core idea, the really mind-bending part, is this inverted universe.
Yes.
Where time, it runs in reverse. And this is super important, right? Spatial positions, distances, they stay the same.
Exactly. That's the crucial distinction. Sidis isn't just tossing out a metaphor for looking at things differently.
No.
He's proposing a rigorous conceptual model, a tool, really, to test the fundamental reversibility of our natural laws.
Yeah.
Think of it like looking in a mirror.
Okay.
In a mirror, one spatial dimension gets flipped, right, left becomes right, but everything else, the other dimensions, the relationships, they stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Sidis applies that same kind of rigorous inversion, but he applies it to time itself, the temporal dimension. It's a thought experiment designed to push the absolute boundaries of how we think about time and physics.
What I find truly fascinating, though, is how many fundamental physical things Sidis suggests would actually stay the same, even with time going backwards. Not just chaos, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
That's the rigorous part. He argues that many basic natural laws, think gravity, electromagnetism, they still hold true. And that's not just a technical detail. It's profound. It suggests these laws operate kind of independently of time's direction. So, yeah, gravity would still pull. Electromagnetism still works.
Okay.
And think about this. The mass of objects, their position in space, even the magnitude of time intervals, like how long something lasts, all that stays consistent.
So the duration is the same, just
Yeah.
backward.
Precisely. The shapes of paths objects take, the magnitude of their speed, these are preserved too.
So the basic mechanics of the universe are still there, even if the movie's playing in reverse. That's really counterintuitive. What else holds firm?
A surprising amount, actually. Acceleration, for instance, stays unchanged in both direction and magnitude.
Okay.
Forces, same deal. Unchanged in direction and magnitude.
Yep.
And because energy depends on position and mass, which we just said are unaffected, energy also stays the same.
Huh.
Even basic physical properties like density, specific heat, elasticity, they're unchanged. But here's maybe the most mind-bending part, and it's pivotal. Sidis argues the second law of thermodynamics.
Ah, entropy, the arrow of time.
Exactly. That fundamental rule that things tend to go from order to disorder. He argues that would not reverse.
Whoa, wait, so even if time ran backward, things wouldn't just spontaneously unbreak or unmix?
That's his argument. It's not just a technical point. It challenges our deepest intuition. It suggests there's something more inherent about the arrow of time, maybe separate from just the direction the clock is ticking. The universe wouldn't simply undisorder itself.
That's a huge implication, it means.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if events run backward, the universe doesn't just snap back into perfect order.
Seems so, according to this model.
So we've established a lot doesn't change, surprisingly. But what does flip? What are the crucial reversals that fundamentally change this inverted reality?
Well, the most obvious one is the order of time itself. Completely reversed. Start to finish becomes finish to start.
Right.
Beyond that, the direction of movement for objects is reversed. Though, like we said, the path's shape and the magnitude of speed stay the same. Imagine watching a ball roll up a hill in reverse playback. Same curve, opposite direction.
Okay, got it.
Impulses. Reversed in direction. Magnitude stays constant. Electric currents. They would be reversed too.
Hmm.
And here's where it gets really complex. Philosophical, even. The relationship between cause and effect.
Ah, okay. This is big.
It is. Logical relations, reasons, they seem unchanged. But physical cause-effect relationships, they can be reversed or altered.
How so? Like the effect happens before the cause.
It gets murky. It's
Right.
not necessarily a simple swap every time. It becomes complexer, as Sidis puts it. This really makes you ask, if cause and effect can be subtly reconfigured just by flipping time, well, how truly reversible is our universe? And what does that imply about how things actually happen?
Okay, so we've been in this very intellectual space, right? Theoretical physics, grappling with time, causality, pretty abstract stuff.
Definitely abstract.
Now we're going to make a big shift, a really human pivot. And you might be wondering, how on earth could a concept like that possibly connect to something as raw and personal as lived experience, trauma?
It seems like a huge leap.
It does. But that's exactly what our second source explores. It offers this framework where the abstract, the scientific, meets the intensely human.
Right. This is where the upside-down universe, a life's reflection, comes in. The author introduces their central idea pretty much up front.
And what is that?
They propose that psychotic decompensation, which means, a severe break from reality or a big decline in mental function they propose. This arises when the mind basically cannot, or maybe will not, conform to what they see as the universe's inherent reversibility.
Wow, that's a heavy claim. Linking mental health breakdown to the fundamental physics of time.
It's a profound claim, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the author knows it. They actually include a disclaimer saying, look, if this concept is too complex or if you're not open to really debating the nature of reality itself, then maybe this book isn't for you.
Setting expectations. Okay. And the author's own life, the foreword sounds quite intense.
It does. It paints a truly poignant, often heartbreaking picture.
Mm.
They express this deep disappointment despite having carefully planned their life. They talk about a path just filled with setbacks. It's described as this lifelong search for physical and mental health, which they feel was partly taken from them when they were young.
Taken from them.
Yeah. They feel the possibilities they saw as a youth are just gone, not achievable anymore in this life. And they express this profound bitterness, this really heartbreaking contradiction of, like, not wanting to keep existing, but also not wanting to die. It really paints a picture of a life feeling fundamentally upside down.
That sounds incredibly difficult. And they connect this feeling to specific experiences.
They do. And it's really important here to state clearly, these are their stated experiences and their interpretations of those experiences.
Understood. We're reporting what the author claims.
Exactly. So they recount feeling abandoned by their mother, who they say couldn't raise them during the week. Then they describe an alleged incident in early puberty, a rape,
Oh, wow.
which the author specifically states was, quote, facilitated by aid workers during an admission to a psychiatric institution.
That's a horrific accusation.
It is. And the author themselves questions it, asking if they made this up. But then they immediately follow by stating that attempts were made to, quote, cover this up through fraud in my dossier and the administration of a very high dose of antipsychotics.
So they're alleging a cover-up, too.
Yes. And they pose the question, or is this very coincidental? It's complex.
That's an almost unbearable set of circumstances to describe. Understandably, it would shake anyone's view of the world. How did they say this affected them?
They say they developed a generalized form of distrust directly because of these emotionally overwhelming experiences. They also believe an incorrect diagnosis given to them in their early teens somehow became reality.
Became reality. Yeah.
They describe it as creating a historical falsification in their medical file. It leads them to ask these incredibly powerful questions. Was I ever sick, or was I indeed made sick? And ultimately, who am I really?
Questioning their entire identity, their past, based on these events and perceived manipulations.
Precisely. And this deep questioning of their core identity, the authenticity of their own history, it clearly fuels their search for some kind of framework, something to explain a reality that feels so distorted, so wrong.
And this search, incredibly, leads them back to Sidis, after all that philosophizing about their own life.
Yes. Amidst all this trauma and questioning, the author states they arrived at a conclusion very similar to William James Sidis's work, The Animate and the Inanimate. They found resonance, a potential explanation in abstract physics, but their profoundly challenging lived reality.
It's hard to imagine finding solace there, but maybe it offered a structure.
That seems to be the case. The author is very clear. Their goal in writing isn't self-pity.
Right.
They explicitly say it's to help others who might be going through similar things in their grieving and processing. And they find in Sidis's, abstract framework this profound resonance with their own internal experience.
So for them, this inverted universe isn't just a metaphor.
It appears not just a metaphor. They seem to perceive their own life events as unfolding in a way that defies normal cause and effect, as if the usual flow of time and consequence has been fundamentally disrupted, turned on its head for them.
Like their personal timeline is running backward or broken.
Something like that. Sidis's concept, where some things reverse while others remain constant. Remember, gravity still works. Time intervals have magnitude that provides a language, perhaps, for the deep dissonance they feel.
The dissonance between how things are for them and how they feel things should be.
Exactly. That sense that their reality is fundamentally off-kilter. Much like how time might run backward in Sidis's model, yet the laws of physics largely hold. It seems to be about finding an intellectual structure, however abstract, for intensely personal chaos and a feeling of injustice.
So what's really fascinating when you put these two sources together is how this highly abstract, rigorous thought experiment from physics, the inverted universe, where causality itself might shift, where time's arrow is questioned, how that provides a conceptual framework for one individual to grapple with a lifetime of what they perceive as injustices, a sense of reality feeling fundamentally wrong or reversed.
It really does raise a question, doesn't it? In what ways do we all seek to explain the inexplicable? To find some kind of order in chaos, whether we reach for scientific theories or philosophical ideas or construct these deeply personal narratives.
Right. So what does this all mean for you listening to this? I think that this deep dive really shows us the incredible power of the human mind to construct meaning, even when facing unimaginable challenges.
Drive to make sense of things.
Exactly. It highlights how we use concepts, whether they're from, cutting-edge physics or our own internal philosophy, just to try and understand the world and our place in it. It's a testament, really, to our profound human need to understand, to contextualize.
And to find a narrative.
To find a narrative, yeah. Even when that narrative feels like it's been completely turned upside down. So here's a final thought to leave you with. If time's arrow itself can be questioned, even hypothetically, in the cosmos, how might our own understanding of cause and effect in our lives be shaped? Shaped by our perception, by our experiences, and maybe even by the very theories we choose to believe or latch onto.
Yeah, what assumptions are we making?
Exactly. What assumptions do you hold about the forward march of your own reality? And just as a thought experiment, what might happen if you dared to look at it, just for a moment, in reverse?